There you go. There you go. We got a music guest on today. We got a rock star on today, so I got to... Huh? That's how we do it. Welcome to the program. Start of the week, which is great. We've got a lot to get to today, too. Ron MacLean got fired by Twitter yesterday, which was not fun for Ron MacLean. He gets fired every week. The alt-right's eating each other. That's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. Facebook has a new extremist button. I'm excited to get to that today, too. But Lachlan is here, and James is here, and ladies and gentlemen, Danko Jones is here, ladies and gentlemen. Danko Jones is here with us today. Danko Jones, rock star, power trio, 10 studio albums, 60 countries, 40 maybe, 6 continents. Danko Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
When does Power Trio come out?
August 27th.
August 27th, yeah. Okay, looking forward to that. The new single, Saturday, is fucking awesome. I love it. It is such a great track. I like the attempt at the falsetto, too, in there.
Oh, that's an ode to Kiss.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah. That's all. That's all that was.
It was it was played.
Did you just insult our guest? Like
no.
5 seconds into the call? How could you do that?
Attempt.
I love the attempt at falsetto. He's Danko Jones. It wasn't a fucking attempt.
To start that.
So disrespectful to guests.
Use a different preference at the a prefix at that on that. I'm a little upset by it because Danko is your friend first. The guy gives his time out of the day, puts out a killer album after a pandemic.
Nice attempt at an album, Danko. Nice attempt at an album.
Opens his heart to everybody in the Toronto Star this week about how he weathered the pandemic. And the first thing you say to our guest is,
I didn't mean it like that.
Hey, Locke, I'm trying, man. That's all I'm doing. I'm just trying.
Maybe you can give him some pointers after the show, Lachlan.
He knows who to call for face piano. That's who he needs. If he needs harmonica on his next record, he'll call me. But I don't think I'm on the list of people to call for music.
Maybe you can at least make an attempt at the harmonica. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you know? Nice attempt at the harmonica.
Try.
There, like, well, yeah. Danko, is he any good at the? Like, is he professional grade harmonica? Is he that good? I know he's great, but like your opinion, can Locke play the harmonica like a professional musician, or is he just like me, kind of a Sunday hack?
I'm a hack.
I think he's on a track for my podcast, one of my podcast themes, right? Is that you, Locke? Yeah,
I did.
It's great.
Somebody watched our podcast, you and I doing a quick hit together or an interview or something, and then called me into the studio here in Edmonton, Kurt, and said, we need to produce a killer fucking intro for Danko. So, and he put the whole thing together, and I ripped off a couple of bars of harmonica for him.
Yeah.
And I think, are you still using that?
Oh yeah, like I've got a few themes, so I switch it up on the episodes. And in fact, that's a good reminder. I haven't used it in a few episodes, so I will do that once I get the podcast up and rolling.
That's hilarious. I had forgotten about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered.
So that makes me feel bad that we haven't let him do the same thing for us.
Yeah.
My plan actually is to write and produce a 7-minute harmonica solo to start off our pod.
Isn't the guitar that we're using right now on the podcast from like a Triumph song or something? Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what it's from. It's like royalty-free music, so you just kind of throw it in there.
Might be Kenny Shields. Rest in peace.
Danko, how are you, dude? We talked to you a few months ago, and we were in the heat of the pandemic, and you had a very different look on your face back then. Like, you look like a completely different person. How you feeling? How you doing?
I mean, in terms of the pandemic, I'm doing better because, I'm fully vaccinated and a lot of people are getting their second dose. It feels great. But I mean, I'm still double masking and wearing face shields when I walk into places. And I'm still being very careful, and I'm not taking things for granted. Trying not to get back to where I was with, recent variant news and stuff. Trying not to get back there. But I'm just trying to keep my head up, just like I think everyone else is through this thing. I I hope there isn't any more lockdowns, and I hope we've pushed through Act 3 and just we've set sail. But I don't want to speak too soon. So yeah, right now I'm just enjoying the fact that the numbers are down in Ontario, where I live, and hopefully it'll be everywhere else in the country, and we can kind of get back to what we were doing. And I think out of the whole pandemic, what I hope people can get out of it is a little more empathy for their fellow neighbor. That's one thing I noticed is, man, it still happens, but like people just walking right at me on the street, I almost have to I'll be on one of those Karen clips in a few weeks. People keep running right towards me. I'm going to be one of those people, man. So
don't you feel though, like because you've taken precautions, you're still masking. I'm doing the same. Don't you feel like the people that were anti-mask are like even more aggressive about their stance today? Like I'm like you. I was going to a grocery store the other day, and I always wear my mask because I'm fucking Canadian, right? Like you do what's best for your neighbor. You operate out of the greater good. So I walk into the grocery store with a mask on the other day. And this is like literally 2-3 days ago. I just hopped in, go get some creamer. I was going to hop out. Wasn't going to be a big deal. I had my mask. Gentleman next to me was screaming at the fucking shopping cart guy. You know, the guy that's like, hey, put your shopping cart over there. Shopping cart guy. He's like, I don't have to wear a mask. I'm fully vaccinated. And he's losing it. And then the guy behind him comes in and he goes, I'll vouch for him. He doesn't have to wear a mask. He's not he's fully vaccinated. I'm not vaccinated. I'm going to fucking shop here whether you like it or not. Top of his lungs, big tank top, really greasy jeans, runs in and caused a scene the entire way around. And I didn't think, I was like, fuck, I should have recorded that whole thing. But it was like, you know, all the things that we've seen of people saying that their rights are being, trampled on, or they don't have to get. It's like they're even more militant now than they've ever been. So like I can, and I'm like you, I'm a little hypochondriac about the whole thing now after going through what we went through. So in my mind, even though these people aren't walking at me, I just think they are. Like everybody that walks maybe he's coming to get me. He's coming to get me.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking too, man. But I don't understand why people are doubling down on this issue. There's so many other things in life right now where you should double down and get real agitated but this, I mean, listen, if I'm going to wear a face shield with 2 double masks and a face shield that covers the back of my head, I'm not doing that. But if I do decide to do that, and I look like a clown to you, you can laugh at me, but just don't like come at me or try to poke at me. I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's your business.
Yeah, people are tempting other people's anxiety levels to what? I mean, are we in high school all of a sudden? And scenes like you just laid out, Dean, that's straight out of a high school cafeteria. I mean, I just don't get it.
I think there's some people, though, that, Danko, I think they're automatically wired a certain way, and we're seeing that. And it wasn't even necessarily the pandemic that set it off. It was just the way these people are. I work with a guy whose dad died and recently. Until the day he died, he refused to wear his fucking seatbelt. They told him in 1989 he had to wear his seatbelt, and he said, fuck you. And he never wore it. Like, there's that kind of wiring, and I just that's just there. It's out there.
Yeah,
and
that's interesting.
It is in Alberta. It is in Manitoba. It isn't on. It is everywhere. They walk among us.
Right.
Yeah,
Jamesy?
Right? Yeah, I was just going to say that's really interesting that you say it like that, because, you know, that whole people that attach their identities to the nanny state issue, where anytime government tells you anything, you have to fight for the sake of the fight. And also, I hear you guys talking, and it's so foreign to me, but then I have to remind myself that you guys live in cities, and I live in a town that's had one case this whole time. Right. So it has been a totally different experience. I haven't seen an increase of anti-maskers up here, but I mean, it's a sparsely populated place where we have been generally unimpacted by the actual health side of the crisis, more the economics. Right. So I'm like,
you saw it in the cities.
Yeah, I
In
would.
the cities, you
I
could
would feel like
feel
I
the
would have.
tension.
I would feel like I would have culture shock if I went to the city right now. I haven't been to Toronto in a year and a half at least, and on purpose. But I grew up there. I lived there for over 20 years, and I feel like I would have culture shock by the way that you guys described it if I were to go back. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you would, dude. It's a very different vibe in the GTA. Like it's a very aggressive vibe. And it's so dense and it's so compact. And when numbers were that high, people got squirrely. Like I don't know if you guys read Danko's article. He actually did an article for the
was a
Star,
great
like a
piece.
legitimate newspaper.
Oh,
Fucking
thank you.
really good.
Thank you.
Toronto musician Danko Jones found rock at a hard place and recorded his 10th album amid COVID-19. Power Trio is the name of the album. It's really, really, really fucking good. If you're a straight up Danko Jones in your face rock fan, you should get it. But what you touched on in here, and by the way, excellent picture. You look really, really nice here. Really nice.
Touch on the Motorhead.
Yeah, yeah, really cute.
Look at that classic denim jacket. That's classic. Does that say? Wow, I got to read the label.
Motorhead England. Yeah, yeah.
I have a few.
I do miss the days when Danko used to come on stage in a fucking huge fur coat. like full on, and you couldn't even tell how big he was because his coat was so big, and he would just come on. And then the other thing he used to do is, and I think he broke his neck, so he had to stop doing it. He would like his head would do this for like fucking 3 hours on stage.
Oh, I got a detached retina because of it.
Oh, is that it? Wasn't the neck itself?
Wow, that's dedication, my brother. That is crazy.
You rock hard.
Detached retina.
Hold on, you were shaking your head back and forth so hard you detached your retina out of your eye.
Yeah. Well, it was a mishmash of stuff. So it would be that, but also I started slapping myself. And there's a song that we have.
I do that anyway.
Mountain. We do 3 lines, and after each of the 3 lines, I would slap myself 3 times, and then I started tripling it. So I do it 9 times after each line, and I'm right-handed, so it just kept hitting this area, and you don't know how much adrenaline is going through you when you're doing it. I could do it here, and it won't be as hard as if I'm in front of a crowd, and eventually it just detached. And that was in 2006. So ever since then, I haven't really banged my head too much.
That's the most rock star thing I've ever heard. Really.
Yeah.
That's like an injury only a rock star could get. Hey, how did you catch your retina? Headbanging. I was headbanging, man.
I noticed that whenever I wouldn't get, like, when I would think that I wouldn't get an audience reaction, then I started punching myself, and I'm right-handed, right in the eye. I have photos. I gave myself a black eye a couple of times. Wow. And that was the dumbest thing. But try telling that to the doctor when you're in his office, how this happened. And so I had to preface it with, all right, this may sound really stupid, but...
No, I've learned to lie to my doctor. How much do you drink, sir? Couple of beer every few nights.
Too much.
right.
Yeah.
Here's the truth. You're going to get your fucking liver screened right away. I have
stupid.
I don't know,
it's stupid.
40 beer a week. What?
It's not a macho thing either. Like I think it's the dumbest thing I ever did. And if you could tell, like when I would bang my head, my neck was actually way thicker than this is. It's definitely shrunk since 2006. So,
what happens with you? Because like if I sit and talk to you and I read the article, and you're such a kind, loving, accepting, normal individual, and then when you go on stage, it's like you turn into someone who needs medication. What is that? Like, what is the switch in you? What is it that changes from this mild-mannered, well-educated, kind, accepting, loving individual to a guy who punches himself repeatedly in the face?
Rock and roll, buddy!
I've since learned the answer to your question very recently is years of no therapy. And so I
don't think it's good.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, totally.
And
I know exactly.
People would say exactly what you said to me. They would say, like, why are you so, quiet here? And when you're on stage, you're so loud. there's such a transformation or something. And I would sit there going, first of all, I don't feel there's a transformation, but then I would think like, yeah, how do I go from 0 to 100? And that's because I just didn't deal with issues with therapy that I am currently dealing with. And so that's the key. And then I started to get a little worried that if I dealt with the issues, I would lose that fire and that immediacy. So that is actually something I stayed away from therapy for years because I knew the cause, and that goes back. People have I think there's
Trauma.
a reason why people. Yeah, I think there's a reason why people end up getting on stage and doing this stuff, is to work out some subconscious problems or problems from childhood or growing up, and so yeah, I recognize that. It was kind of like Usual Suspects when it just slowly started to jigsaw, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that's trauma, and that's this and that's that. So that's what makes me go 0 to 100.
Do you think that
that's the difference between this guy and this guy, right? Like, there's this guy.
I fucking love that guy, though.
I fucking love him too. I love him, but I also love this guy, and I find that interesting because I don't know how old you are. I'm 48, and for the longest time, I thought to be as good at my job as I needed to be, I needed to party, I needed to drink like everybody else did. I needed to swear. I needed to act like that guy. I needed to be that guy, which was scary to me when you think about trying to improve your life or evolve. But then you're in this emotional place where you can't deal with life like this. Like, you don't want to continue to go on being scared. And then when you get those moments where you can be yourself like that, with me, it was a microphone, it was radio. You can get in front of a microphone, you can get in front of radio. That's your safe spot. And then all your angst, all your anxiety, all your emotion, things you struggle with during the week, that all comes out. That all comes out because this is where you're expressing yourself emotionally. But what was really, really interesting to me over the past few years, and you touched on it in your article, was like, are we going to continue to, as people, just completely avoid the pain that we go through? And what the pandemic did for me, it allowed me that space and that time to be able to go, okay, I have some shit that I have to deal with, and I got to figure this out because I don't want to walk through life miserable. I don't want to walk through life scared. I need to understand and be comfortable in my own skin, and I need to understand these things. And I think the pandemic did that for me. I think it allowed me the opportunity to be able to say, okay, listen, those things are not mutually exclusive. Like, I don't have to carry on like that guy, and it's not going to affect my business. I can still do the personal and professional work of being a better person. But that's really fucking scary for people when you've been going as hard as you have for 20 years, rock and roll shows, everything stops, you're stuck in your house, which you touched on the article. Then you have to deal with that stuff, right? Then you're left with yourself at the end of the day. And that's what I got out of not just your article, but, some of the stuff that you've even just said here in the last 10 minutes, which is, hey, I was hurting. I was in a place where, that was my way of communicating how I felt to people.
Well, it's an interesting thing because I am still one of those guys where I don't like to air out any problems that I have or put or depict myself or try to push myself as some sort of victim or look at me, I'm such an artist because I'm tortured. I hate it when I see people in bands try to push their new album with that kind of stuff. So it's just still personal. I'm very uncomfortable talking about it now, but it's on the table, and I was talking about it earlier today, so it's on my mind. But what I know now is that anger is it's in there. It's not coming out. So I don't have to worry about dealing with an issue and losing the anger. It's wielding the anger in my direction, being a wizard and wielding it in the way you want it to wield. So some people have the anger and and it comes out in the worst way possible. And I was lucky enough to find rock and roll and be in a band and find a really positive way to channel anger. And I think, same with me as an audience member, I gravitated towards angry music because I felt a kinship with the people playing it. And so it goes on, but it's in a positive way. I'm not freaking out on people, in my personal life or off stage or anything, because it's all done. It's all spent on stage. When the show is over, I'm back to normal,
You mentioned something just now, I think that a lot of people can identify with, which is the source of anger. And I'm not sure if I'm reading too much into what you said, but I also belong to the Childhood Trauma Club. Shout outs to my stepmother. I hope you die soon, because the therapy hasn't paid with me. I'm just being honest. but I was curious.
This is a safe place. This is a safe place, Jamesy. I love it.
That's right.
Okay,
No, it is.
yeah.
Trust me. At least you'll walk away knowing that I'm more fucked up than you are, Danko, which is probably a good thing. But I was curious, because this is the way that I feel about my stuff, and I know a lot of people that feel the same way, is that the paradoxical position is that if it wasn't for that trauma or that darkness, I may not have taken a path that would have led me to, and I'm speaking on your behalf, but that would have led me to being this amazing rock star. And I'm wondering if you view it like that, or if you've managed to find a way to sort of think of it. No, I don't owe that part of it anything, because there's a couple of ways, I guess, that individuals can look at something like that.
No, I owe it 100% to that, and I'm grateful for. Like I said, I've been able to channel it, and I'm so lucky I was able to channel it in a positive way, and it worked for me, and I'm aware of it now. I wasn't aware of it. I swear to God, until very recently, I thought I'm too normal. I'm too normal of a guy to be in rock music, and I never saw what I honestly don't understand the difference between me off stage and me on stage, because I'm in it. It's me. I don't pull off one of these stupid sensitive artist things going, oh, I have to transform, and it's such bullshit. I just go on stage and we start singing. It's the adrenaline of having hundreds, thousands of people or whatever watching what you're doing. That's what's feeding what I'm putting out there. But I never really knew or acknowledged or figured out that before it comes out of me, all this adrenaline passes through all this subconscious stuff that I keep tightly packed and hidden from myself. And all the adrenaline goes through that almost as a filter. Then it comes out.
Interesting.
And it's fine. I'm okay with it. It's been like that for a couple of years now, where I'm more aware of it. I'm gaining even more awareness, like Dean said, during the pandemic. But I started becoming aware of it only maybe 2-3 years ago, and I felt embarrassed actually when I finally realized that, oh man, I'm like one of those sensitive artist dudes. Oh yeah.
You start doing Radiohead covers and shit.
Yeah, well, I swear I didn't think I had issues. You know what I mean? I didn't think I had any issues. I'm just a dude who likes playing rock. There's nothing other than my love for music that brought me here, and I had to acknowledge that no, there are other things. And then I got embarrassed, and I felt really meek. I felt like I was naked
because it didn't match with that guy on stage, though. Is it because the way you felt didn't match up with the cast that people have made of you and that guy on stage, or what was it? Or was it just the realization that you're human?
No, I just
go ahead.
No, I felt embarrassed because I realized where I was getting all the anger was not from music. It was from my personal past. And I thought I was, because I like to be private. And suddenly that was, even though I wasn't telling everybody, I said to someone, I go, is it so obvious that I've got issues when you see me on stage? And they answered, oh my God, it is so obvious. You've got issues. You're nuts. And I was so embarrassed because I thought everything I did was simply because I love rock music.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's a sharing circle, I thought I'd step up. I deal with my shit the way a fucking man does in the basement with alcohol. And I've been doing that for years. And I would highly recommend the rest of you do that. None of this fucking counseling shit. What a waste of fucking time.
Locke, I swear to God, I agree with you on so many levels. I don't talk about this stuff, and I think it's lame.
I'm just
kidding. I really
kidding.
do.
Everybody needs to do what they need to do,
I'm
Danko.
not kidding, man.
No.
I'm not kidding. I don't want to be another guy in a band or music or entertainment going, oh my God, I have,
yeah.
You don't need to hear that shit from me. You don't need to hear any of that shit. I'm just saying, me personally, I realized that, I realized the source, I should say. I thought I was like a moth to a flame when it comes to rock music. I was more believing like I was born to be a rocker, man. This is my destiny. No, there's so many other things that brought you here. Like, it's not really the music. And that was disappointing.
I heard something at the beginning of the pandemic, and it really hit home with me. It's okay not to be okay. And I have said that out loud many, many times. And I mean, all kidding aside, I have had people in my life, myself included, and I've had to deal with some shit. And I think there is that embarrassment, right? And I think it's that judgment and that concern about what other people are going to think about you that gets in the way of actually becoming or getting to the place that you need to get to.
Ego.
Yeah. So, I mean, we dealt with my daughter, who is a very high performing artist in her own right. She dances. She's going to be dancing in Hungary, Budapest, this year.
Wow.
And at the beginning of her career, we experienced anxiety issues, and it was never around performance. It was around kids, right? And I learned a lot about anxiety and issues and things like that. And I got a couple of members of the family that have dealt with some stuff, right? And I think that's the one thing that we all have to do. And it sounds a little bit cliche and everything like that, but you know what? Like, it definitely is. It's okay to not be okay, and to fucking lean on somebody and talk about it. And you know what? I don't think any less of Danko Jones. How long have I known you? I've known you fucking. I was at a show in 1997, I think. You and I met, and we've talked almost every year, sometimes more than a couple of times since then. And dude,
at
I've
least
never
20
judged
years.
you. Yeah. Fuck, I've never judged you. Never will. And I think it's okay. Yeah.
That's hard. It's hard to it's hard to communicate that with people, right? Like when you find guys your age and that are high performing individuals that are like, you know, you would look at someone like Danko Jones, or you might look at me that works, you know, independently and doesn't have a boss, and these people go, oh, that's success, right? Like Danko's successful, he's doing these things. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that everybody has an objective reality, right? But when you live in this body, we never see that objective reality of the person that we are. Right. And like you, 4 or 5 years ago, I remember someone telling me what I was all about. And I was looking at them like, that's not me. I'm not that guy that you're telling me I am. I'm a really great guy. When in actuality, I really probably wasn't a great guy. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see what it was that bothered me.
And you're still a bit of a cock, right?
Well, no, but we don't do it like Danko was saying, and he made reference to it earlier. Like the same quiet, meek, smart individual that does a Three's Company podcast isn't the same guy detaching his retina by punching him in the face. But it is. That's my point. We just don't see that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you are the what is it? What's the saying? You are the hero of your own movie
story.
Isn't that a Tina Turner song?
The author of your own demise. I know that one.
It was in that movie Thunderdome. No,
I can't remember. I saw that on First Choice Super Channel.
Hero.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, but the saying is like you're the main
Lachlan,
character.
nice
of your
attempt
own-
at singing, by the way. That was a good attempt.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
nice attempt at falsetto. Good attempt. Okay, so Danko, Power Trio, the name of the album. You've got a couple of huge rockers on there. I was just pimping "I Want Out," which is a great video if you haven't seen it. But
Thank you.
like, you got to be excited to get back on the road with this record. You've got to be excited to go back out and do what you love to do, right? Like, this has got to be it. Are you worried about the vaccination stuff, or are you like, hey, listen, I'm going to go out, I'm going to perform, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to put everything in the rear view?
Everything you said is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about,
All at once.
trying not to be worried. Yeah, trying not to be worried, but I'm a little worried. We'll see how certain venues and cities are. We've announced a few shows. We're playing
Together
Calgary
again.
and we're doing Edmonton at the end of August, but we're doing Calgary in about, I don't know, a week and a half. So things ramped up really quickly. And so we're getting offers through our booking agent, and of course, if it's vetted through them, we have to say yes. We trust them, and fully vaccinated. So let's go. Let's. We've been out of work for a year and a half, and we kind of gotta get back out there.
Sunday, August 29th. I believe there's still tickets available. Arlie Peace, I'm Mother Earth, Danko Jones, and a local band, Royal Tusk in Edmonton. And the concert series is called Together Again. And that whole concert series, Danko, is built around creating a new way of experiencing concerts due to what we've gone through in the last year and a half. Not to try to make you feel better, but I know that just based on having conversations with the guys that have produced.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well,
like a new way of, is it going to be the same? Yeah.
They've got you buy like a section, not so much tickets, and then you're only allowed in there. If you order a drink, it comes to you. If you order merch, it comes to you. Like, you're not allowed to fuck around. And so it's just different. And there's a bunch of other things. It's outdoors as well. So they're still trying to live, even though the restrictions are lifting, this concert series that they're doing, and it starts in August, and there's a bunch of them here in Edmonton, and it's the Trickstar group. They're trying to make things safe for everybody, because I think there's still a lot of people out there that might be a little bit leery about going out to see a show in the new world that we live in, right? And a few of them have been selling out, and I know the Danko Jones night that end of August has been selling very quickly. So don't fuck around, get your tickets.
It's with Our Lady Peace. They're headlining,
Yeah.
and I'm Mother Earth are main support, and then we're second support. There's 5 bands, I think. Yeah, and we're friends with those guys, with both bands. I'm Mother Earth and Our Lady Peace. It'll be good to see them, and it'll be nice to play a show with other bands, and you can share, I don't know, it just feels like you're not alone kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. And we're going to do a live stream around that time as well. So yeah, there's some shows that, and there's talk of us going out in November, December, but nothing's confirmed. But we announced a 5-week European tour for April and May of next year. So hopefully by next year, things would have kind of, hopefully things will get even better than they are now for next April and May. So
that lineup kind of takes me back a little. And I was away the first time you came on the podcast, but what I kind of wanted to sort of tell you or ask you, I don't remember if there's a question in this, but I remember seeing you play in the late 90s at places like the Horseshoe and stuff. And I remember bands that were all around back then that didn't make it, like bands like the Pocket Dwellers. I don't know if you remember them, but I was also linked up with this dude and doing work with Joe, who I think you've done a lot of work with in the past. And I learned about you from George. George. He was your music video director, I think, for a couple things, or he did a documentary for you guys. I think he did all of the Our Lady Peace videos. And
he was my roommate.
Was he a roommate as well? Did you like the Wellington house or the Parkdale house?
It's Wellington, around Wellington. We lived near Wellington.
Yeah, that was the Broken Social Scene house too, I think. But
I lived with Broken Social Scene was kind of born in my house.
Oh, really?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Tell.
Wow. I lived with Brendan Canning for 4 years, and then Brendan would steal away, and I'd have the house to myself for days. And he would say he's over at his friend Kevin's place, Kevin Drew, and I didn't know that they were basically forming Broken Social Scene. Some people would come and jam and all kinds of stuff like that. I love Brendan. We're really good friends to this day. And then we got George in, and it was George Vale, video director extraordinaire, Brendan Canning from Broken Social Scene, and me. And the three of us were living together. And our band started touring heavily in Europe. So I would go away for weeks at a time. And there was one time I came back from tour, and Brendan's on the cover of iMagazine. And I'm like, what is going on? How did you get on iMagazine? And he said, well, I'm in this band now. We were living together. And I didn't even know that he was in this band because we were just so busy. We would just see each other, like this.
Yeah.
And I go, you're in a band with Kevin, and you formed, and you're on the cover of the Weekly here. And I read the article. I'm like, I had no idea this was going on while in my house. They're indie rock guys, and sometimes indie rockers can be a little flaky. So there was this one dude. So there's this. I mean, I'm an indie rock.
No offense. You're talking about the Broken Social Scene. I think they're wonderful artists, but when you said they can be a little flaky, Lachlan laughed for a reason, and I identify with that laughter. Yep.
Well, I'm a recovering indie rocker myself. I mean,
All right.
it's funny when indie rockers come at me. It's like, dude, I know more about indie rock than you ever will, man. You just got into it a month ago. Anyways, sorry, that's the anger coming out. Anyway, so, but the thing about me and Brendan Brendan, he's known for being in Broken Social Scene, and I'm known for, doing the hard rock Motorhead AC/DC thing. But the two of us, he's like the biggest metal fan, old school metal fan, whether people know it or not, and I'm an old school indie rocker. I love my Slint and my Bedhead and all that stuff. So we definitely we're cut from the same cloth. So that's how we got along. And then when George came to live with us, when our roommate Richard moved out, George Vale, we ended up getting George to do some of our videos, and I'm still good friends with George to this day. So
small world.
Funny,
there's a possibility.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that I drank a few of your when George lived, because he would always tell me, he's like, just go, because you know how his editing suite was in that one little small room, and I went downstairs.
That's my old bedroom. That was my old bedroom. Really?
Yeah. So I go. Yeah. He's like, yeah, just help yourself to anything in the fridge.
You'll never guess what James did to your pillow, by the way.
That's not true.
I was already moved out of there, but he turned it into a editing suite.
Oh, did he? Okay, so I drank Brendan's beers then. I'm pretty sure I drank someone's beers.
Oh yeah. I don't.
And
drink,
Brendan would
I don't
walk
drink beer,
down the hallway, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And he'd just be like, "It was always the same thing." Hi. He sounded like the guy. Who's that guy again from Taxi? That comedian guy, the public performance.
Oh, Andy Kaufman.
He sounded like Andy Kaufman when he said hi. He's like, "Hi." It's so funny.
Danko, listen, buddy. Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
No, I mean, Broken Social Scene was a real, like, so there was a real scene to it. And I'm a hard ass, man. Like I'm a stick in the mud. I'm a party pooper. I didn't dig it, like people coming in and out, flaky musicians that I don't know, playing their bongos. Like and I'm in my, exactly. Yeah. I'm in my, I'm in track pants with in my pajamas or something, like making ramen noodles. And then like people come in and it was all, I was like, what the hell's going on, dude? Like, I was such a stick in the mud, man. And if they blast music after 11, I would come down the stairs and go, do you know what time it is? It's 11 o'clock, man. This is stuff. And I'll tell you something. What really pissed me off is when Broken Social Scene put out their book, This Book Is Not Broken, there's a photo, I'm in it, like quoted in it, but there's one photo of me. They use the one photo where I'm holding a beer can. Like I said, I don't drink beer, but they got me one photo. I don't know if they were trying to get at me for that, or I don't know what it was, but like pissed me off, man. But so I was the old man, get off my lawn, shut the music down, stop having fun guy. I mean, you know, so, you know, but I honestly though, I love Brendan Canning and Kevin Drew. We just kid around, and sometimes I forget that I kid around like I'm doing now when I'm doing interviews and stuff, and people don't understand that, like, that's what Kevin and I do. That is our dynamic. I make fun of him, and that's the dynamic.
And he makes his own clothing.
Does he? Is he doing that now? Is that? Oh man. It's all good. Yeah, I love those guys and all the people around them too. They're all nice. Everyone's really nice, and I'm just the guy. You know,
this is
I'm
what
a
I would
cliche.
say after sewering a friend on a live show as well. I would say the exact same thing Danko's saying to end it off. Like, no, I really love him though. Yeah.
You know what I'm
great
doing,
guy.
but I'm telling you, I am a stick in the mud. I'm like I am. I swear to God, they were right. I was wrong. I was out of line. They were totally doing what they were supposed to do, and I acknowledge it now. I was kind of a dick when I would tell people to stop calling here. You know it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Sorry,
I keep
George
saying
there?
You turned into my dad as a rock star. You became my dad.
Totally.
I keep telling people this. You got to keep a bit of dick. You do.
Yeah.
You have to maintain just a little bit of an asshole. Like, just hang on to it. It's healthy. It is. Yeah.
Hey, Danko, listen.
I'm a tight ass.
No, you don't look like it. Dude, not many tight
I'm
asses
clenching
punch
right now.
themselves in the face.
By the way,
I'm clenching right now.
Everybody needs to go right now. Go watch a fucking YouTube video of Danko Jones and The Mountain, and just like find a 7 or 8 minute, 9 minute version of it live from some festival in Europe, and listen to that song. It has to be done today. That's your fucking rock and roll homework.
Dude, preparing for this interview, this is why I love this business. My show prep was watching videos of you performing. And my one question was, what the fuck happens to you when you get on stage? And you answered it. So it was great. But I went down the rabbit hole of like, videos of you in Germany, videos of you, in England. It's just as fucking, and you get it when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to interview this guy today. Look at him. He's like a fucking legitimate rock star. Carries himself like a rock star, acts like a rock star, love his music. He's Canadian. I'm like, fuck, I'm so happy I get to talk to Danko Jones today, because when you go through all of the stuff that you've done, you're like, oh my God, this guy's the fucking balls. Like, I hate to say it, but it's true. And I know you probably don't like to be pumped up like this, but it's just a great journey that you can go through. So Locke's right. Go to YouTube, Danko Jones yourself this afternoon. It's brilliant. Dude, appreciate you being here as well as always. Thank you.
Can I just leave it off with this? Everything you just said reminded me of the time that Brendan and I threw a party. Brendan Canning and I threw a party, and this is how much of a dick I was when I decided that this is going on too long. It was like 3 a.m. I'm done. I took a garbage bag and I started cleaning up the house in front of all the guests.
Oh, that is such a do. It really is. Sharon Jones in the house.
So I don't know how that's really me. I don't know all the YouTube videos. Thank you for watching them, but that is really me.
Danko's the
Yeah, there's
asshole
a
cleaning
video
up
of
at
you
3
being
o'clock
an
in the morning.
asshole cleaning up after your friends.
I was such
Don't
a
watch
dick.
that.
I was such
I
a
think
dick.
I have a memory of something like that. I'm not kidding.
Oh,
I
man.
remember. And it got all quiet. And then I was like, George, I'll see you. Look, I might be manufacturing on the spot, but that sounds familiar. It really does. I'll ask George.
I don't know if it was the George years, but I can't remember
so
myself.
That's
But
so funny.
while you were saying that you went down a rabbit hole, that memory just came to my head and said, that's the opposite of what Dean's saying. But it's truer.
Danko, when you're in town in August, drop me a line. We'll have you on again. We'll have you on the show.
Absolutely.
On the locker room.
Absolutely. Oh, great.
Maybe we'll
It
go
would be
grab a
fun to do.
grab a beverage somewhere.
We got Rain
you're up to it.
from Our Lady Peace on tomorrow, so what I might do is actually hitch a flight out there and see you guys in August. Come for a show.
Oh,
Stay for a good
man.
time.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
please tell Rain I say hi.
I
So
will.
it'd be great
For sure.
to see him in August, for sure.
Danko,
We'll see if he
thank
has any
you.
stories about you ruining parties, Danko.
Yeah.
He
Have
has
you
a
ever
story
partied
about
with
me
Danko
ruining the
Jones? What a loser.
Rain does have one story about me ruining the podcast he was on. I don't know if that's
Yeah. He was wasted
That'll
on
come
shrooms.
up.
It's another story. Yeah. Thanks for doing this,
You
Danko.
were on
Appreciate
shrooms?
Oh, dude.
Thank you, guys.
He was so fucked. He was so fucked, Danko. I'll leave you with this. James, he and I start podcasting. Rain and I start talking. Rain's like, I'll come on the podcast with you. It'd be great. We'll talk about Trump and the
even
political
told me to
environment.
be to him.
James gets on the podcast. He starts eating like mushrooms like it's a muffin. He's a
That's not-
and then
like,
he starts
dude, the footage
hammering
exists.
Coors Lights. 5 minutes into the interview, he's like, I fucking hate your music. And I'm like, oh, thanks,
I did not
James, for
say
being
that.
here.
Oh
That's
my
great.
god, I didn't say that. I told him. All I said was that his son probably doesn't have a poster of Joe Biden on his wall. That's all I said.
Yeah.
Because that's all I said.
Slurred through it.
But
Your
I said
tone
like
was
this.
Yeah, you did.
You were right to
So
ban
anyway,
me.
he's brave enough to come back tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I'll see you in August, Danko. Best of luck. Please go get the record. Download it. It's called Power Trio. It is really, really, really fucking good. And really good of you
Thanks,
to
guys.
spend some time with us today. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it.
Good to see you, Danko.
Thanks, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you guys again.
All the best. Danko Jones, ladies and gentlemen. What a gentleman he is.
I like him.
So nice.
Honest gentleman.
I fucking
Right?
like him a lot. Such a good
I do
kid.
too. I do
Yeah.
too. His bit in The Star was fucking great. For a guy that doesn't open up, he really opened up in The Star, and he talked about how
It's real, right? Like what he
sucks.
went through.
Yeah.
And you know what? And we have people in our lives that had a rough time in the last 18 months, man. Like
I really love
They-
the way that he was able to like say what we all think when we see people go on talk shows and talk about how awful their life is. I like that he knows that always tends to come off not in a great, and I appreciate
because he's
that
fucking
that he's
self-aware.
got- yeah,
right?
I was just gonna say that he's got so much self-awareness, and I think that's like it's rare to see these days. Like, there's so many people that would take advantage and be like, oh, and just have this long drawn out sob story, and he's just like, no, I'm gonna get down to business. I'm gonna give you a little glimpse, but I'm gonna deal with it. I'm still gonna be myself. I love that about him.
But you know what that is, though, too. On top of being self-aware, that's also humility, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that he needs to realize, and this is something I've realized over the years, is that people that have that are self-aware, that have humility, that have the ability to look inward and be concerned about how they're being portrayed, and actually genuinely give a flying whatever about how they're being viewed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Aren't going to come off like that. They're not going to be perceived as victims. They're actually going to be perceived as somebody that might be actually doing it for the right reasons, as opposed
And you know
to
what,
trying to
a
get some
PR
attention
strategy.
for what's
Yeah.
happening to them. Right.
Well,
Yeah.
dude, like he touched on something that's pretty gross, and you see a lot of people do it. Media people do it. I won't bring up who does it because some people do it more than others. And
I see it every day.
I'll bring it up if I know what you're talking about.
People that use or invent personal tragedy or maladies to try and connect with people online. Like the ones like, hi, everybody. I've really been dealing with some things today and just want to let you know that it's been tough, but I'm working through it. And they put it out to 28 followers. And then they sit there and they look at their phones like this. Wonder who's gonna like my tweet of me
That's a
talking about how
personality
fucked I am in
disorder.
the head. But dude,
Yeah.
people
really
use it like it's not just and what Danko was talking about, which I love, and I see media people do it, radio people do it, TV people do it, reporters do it. It's using these personal tragedies and these sadnesses to try and garner more support or more followers or have more people click on your stuff. And it's literally the lowest form of promotion you can find, right? Yeah. It's the equivalent of that is when corporations like Bell do the Let's Talk and exploit people with mental illness for their own financial benefit. That's what Danko was talking about. That's why he was saying, hey, listen, I go through things. I wrote an article. It's personal, but here's what I'm dealing with. Like it wasn't like we dragged it out of him, but we had to actually have a conversation, and he still didn't insert himself in his own story. He just talked about going through it, what it's like, what he dealt with, and where it came from, but he wasn't specific. And the one thing he didn't use, which a lot of people do, is he didn't use mental illness or his self-awareness or the struggles that he's been through as a vehicle with which he used to promote his album or a tour. Right?
Yeah.
Those are the fucking lowest forms of individuals on the planet.
I have a local person in the media that I have blocked on social media, like all forms. Mm-hmm. And this individual has confronted me a couple of times about why I have them blocked. And I'm like, I need to like you. And I can't like you based on what you put on social media. It's so needy. So I can't see it. I can't. I'm sorry. You can be mad at me for blocking you, or we can just deal with the fact that needs to happen for me to be in the same room with you ever. Because I can't stand that stuff, right? It's just, and but there's times when you're allowed to be real or be sentimental but if you're doing it constantly, it's just for attention. That's all it is. And people eventually fucking see through it.
If you write a
losers,
tweet,
I believe
they are. And if you type out a tweet, and it's a personal one or whatever, and you see that you've used the word me or I like a dozen, you're probably not going to want to send that tweet out. But the weird thing is that there are people that stuff like that all the time, and they get tons of traction. So I don't know. I don't know if if it's just for that.
But what kind of attraction do you want? I don't know. Like, is that what you want though? I don't know if I want that.
What I want.
All that does is it attracts other victims, right? Like, which if you're really good at the victim game, you're saying, I'm a victim. Here's what happened to me. Yeah. Come stand with me, all of you victims. And there are so many fucking losers out there.
But there's also the people
ego first that they go, oh, that guy's standing up for me and all my other loser friends. Therefore, I'm going to give him some love on Twitter.
We got to be careful though. Because there are times when I think people can use social media and their platform for help. Like, I think there is a way, like the Danko Jones story.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about why Danko said, and I get an enormous amount of respect for him, saying, I don't want to use this because I see people use their issues to promote themselves, and it's fucking sick. That's what I'm talking about. The people who are like, hey, I got stage 4 cancer. See you guys later. I'm like, well, I'm not making fun of those people, for fuck's sake.
No. But I also think there's a time and a place where you can insert yourself into the conversation and it can be useful, right? Like, I think, Dean, I've seen you do it in certain situations on this pod, and it's a relatable, it's a bridge, right? Your addiction issues that you've had in the past. And when you present those, or when you share moments of what it is that you've dealt with, I think that can be healthy, because I know you, and I know you're not doing it for attention. You're not doing it to garner sympathy. You're not playing a victim card. So I think there's a fine line, and there's a way to do it. Like James said, like you got to be careful about how much you're focusing on yourself when you're presenting this material or this content online, right? Hey, how many times can I use my balls in a tweet?
0.
Let's turn from that, because I don't know if you guys watched the hockey game last night. Thank you. The fucking Habs won. Wasn't expecting it. 3-2 overtime. Josh Anderson with the goal. Let's just back this up. I didn't watch a second of the game.
I watched the
Not
whole
1
thing.
second. I know you did, and it ended poorly because Montreal won. So Game 5 back in Toronto in Tampa Bay tomorrow night, which they'll win. But this morning I woke up and it was like trending. It was in my face. I had people DMing me for comments about what Ron MacLean did last night, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. I was asleep.
What do you do now?
Nothing.
Well, this is the thing. So I
watched the
did
whole
some
thing.
reading. So I tweeted this morning. Can someone tell me why we hate Ron MacLean today? The dude did his job as instructor because the NHL and SportsCenter are crooked as fuck, and you want him fired? Am I close? Like I was trying to understand the whole thing. And so I went through a couple of different tweets, and I realized this is where it started. Salim, I think that's how you say his name. No disrespect intended. Salim Valji. He's a reporter for TSN, as you can see in his little thing there. Read this tweet, went and watched the video. Here's the tweet. Respectfully, I have friends at Sportsnet and CBC who are wonderful, talented, hardworking humans, but Ron MacLean not asking the NHL commissioner, Gary Bettman, about the Chicago Blackhawks sexual assault cover-up allegations is an enormous dereliction of journalistic integrity and duty, in my opinion.
It's not
bullshit.
a news show. It's not a news show.
That started Ron MacLean trending again. Fire Ron MacLean. We hate Ron MacLean. Fuck Ron MacLean. Dave Hodge commented, Hockey Night in Canada's Gary Bettman interview should have been conducted without conditions or with any conditions stated or shouldn't have been done. Maybe Ron MacLean lobbied accordingly, went 0 for 3, or maybe he didn't. Criticize you if you will or not. Ron MacLean deliberately held off questioning Bettman about allegations of sexual assault by an NHL coach with an NHL team that is directly contributing to the culture and allows predators to thrive in pro sports.
Up.
Ted Bird said some shit, which doesn't matter either. But the reason why I wanted to cover this and the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because I went back and watched the interview. Ron and Gary had an interview, as they do in every Stanley Cup final. Ron gets to interview Gary. They got in a couple of fights in 2010, 2013. Do you remember that?
I love them because they don't like each other.
Challenged Gary. No, they hate each other because Ron challenged Gary and he asked some questions that Gary didn't want to answer. So then he got fired, if you remember. And they brought in George Stroumboulopoulos. God love him. That didn't work out. So they beg Ron to come back, right? Then he comes back. Then Don gets fired for saying something that he probably shouldn't have said, wasn't racist, but whatever. He gets fired because of the temperature of the fucking room. So now we've arrived at somehow Ron MacLean didn't ask Gary Bettman about a sexual assault cover-up investigation in Chicago because, and I have asked the people involved, including the people at Sportsnet, because it was a directive from the NHL that Ron not ask Gary about the Chicago Blackhawks cover.
Because it's in court.
Because not only is it in court, but Gary Bettman's protecting the league because he's a crooked dick. So then what Gary did is he told the people at Sportsnet, you tell Ron I'll do the fucking interview, but I am not talking about the Chicago Blackhawks sex assault case. That is an actual fact.
So the fact that these journalists
are
tweeting about Ron not asking it and being a derelict of journalism, like that's bullshit because everyone knows exactly how that went down. And that's exactly how Bettman will play it. Bettman will 100% send his people a note that says, tell MacLean we're not touching this. Now, to Bettman, like I can't stand the guy. But Bettman does also have to protect the league. That's his job, right?
Yeah.
And he has the right to ask Ron MacLean not to bring that up. And he also has the right to say, if Ron wants to bring that up, he can interview somebody else. We'll send Daly in, right? If he wants to deal with that, then that's off the table. I won't show up. So Ron has a choice to make. Right? And we've all dealt with this as interviewers. James, you've interviewed high-profile people. Dean, you've interviewed high-profile people. And if you don't play the game sometimes, you don't get those interviews. Right?
And you get fired.
Or you get fired. What more are we going to learn from Bettman about this Chicago situation? Nothing. Bettman doesn't know anything about what's going on.
Well,
so
he's
going
to bring it up, but he can't. It's a legal issue now, yeah. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, he would give a PR drenched response like the Chicago Blackhawks are dealing with this issue. Obviously, we are very concerned anytime any of these allegations are brought forth. Like it would just be one of those. Ron MacLean has a little bit. Ron MacLean can blame himself a little bit, and I'll tell you why. The Don Cherry thing happened, and Ron MacLean took the position that he took, but he really did sound like a person that would have, I'm saying he did this intentionally, but the woke people probably were like, well done. And then the other thing happened where he made that sloppy metaphor.
That was the goal.
It was about the rum, and he did that groveling apology that was like that long. And so now something like this happens or doesn't happen, and the people that loved him for those first two things that he did are like, well, what the fuck? I thought you were one of us. Why didn't you go woke and ask him about the things that are important to us? I was like, when I first heard this story, I was like, did anyone ask the people that were allegedly assaulted if they wanted that shit to be brought up during the NHL playoffs? Like, why does it just have to be brought up? Why is that the virtue signal of decency or journalistic integrity? I didn't really, time and place thing. I don't know. It's kind of a heavy subject, first of all, to take care of in 4 minutes or whatever.
There's another issue here, right, that I think people are avoiding. And I think James is kind of touching on it, is that I think there's some second guessing going on right now, personally, with Ron MacLean, with where he's at. And I highlighted it the day after he made that apology.
In his performance.
You can tell.
His second guessing. I've seen his confidence. He is much more demure. You're right.
Oh my God. You can see it. And these woke warriors are killing broadcasters like Ron MacLean because he's in his head now. And then the other thing is I can tell because the way he dealt with a couple of aggressive situations from Bettman, where Bettman's a dick, and Bettman will fight back. And Bettman already knows everybody perceives him as a weasel, so he doesn't care. Give him credit for that. So when he ends up he will block a question with an aggressive response. And back in the day, go back and watch those fights between Ron MacLean and Bettman. You can tell Ron could go toe-to-toe with them because Ron's just as smart, if not smarter than Bettman. But in this interview yesterday, I noticed immediately MacLean shut down, and he tried to get the interview back on a sort of amicable sort of position, right? You could see him trying to steer it to let's just be nice.
He tried to fluff it. He tried to, dude. And listen, if you've done this job and you've interviewed people several times, and some of these interviews are corporate mandates, it is all you can do to get through it, right? So you literally have to tell yourself before these interviews, I just need to stick to the notes. I just need to get through this because I know this is a fucking terrible idea. And I know what's going to happen after this is I'm going to get phone calls and tweets and emails. So I'm like, what the fuck did you interview the president of a donut chain for? Like, and so you get through it. You just do the job that's asked of you. By the way, that lasted 38 seconds, that interview. They told me, interview the president of country style donuts or you're fired. And I'm like, no problem. Hi, what's your point of difference? Our point of difference is our donuts are fresh. Thanks for coming in for the interview. That was the whole fucking interview.
Dean, I got to tell you something.
A way to get through it.
You know what, Dean? I got to tell you something. You and I are very similar on a lot of fronts, and we have a lot of things that we share in this broadcasting world and
vengeful
bubble.
Soul is one of them
that we live in, and one of those things is not interviewing the guy from the head of a donut shop for 38. I would have kept him on for the whole fucking show.
You could have had Mike Muller come on.
I would have had him putting
Here's
songs
the donut
on.
President with the news. Yeah, get him to read the news and the sports. Here you go, donut guy. Try your hand at the
this is
weather.
a good idea? Guess what? What time can you be here tomorrow, Barry?
You're gonna get your money's worth.
I know. I wasn't thinking. I was just busy trying to make a point. That I was
just thought of that. And if it ever happens to me, Barry, the head of the donut chain, is going to be on for fucking 2 hours.
So funny.
Jamesy, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, doesn't Don Cherry, I know that the circumstances obviously were different and everything like that, but him not apologizing because he saved his job, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, if he just would have walked that plank.
Said to say sorry. Yeah.
He kind of looks like a genius given what Ron MacLean has since he's left. And the reason why I say that is because, I'm just making Locke's point. I'm just sort of like re-emphasizing Locke's point is that he looks like he looks like he's beaten. The McLean thing, how he looks like he's been sort of beaten and did behind closed doors. So now that he's just Don Cherry wouldn't have lasted a second in that type of environment, right? That's all I'm saying. Is that maybe he left and it was good for everybody. Maybe that he left, right? But definitely for him, it's looking like
that might have been actually why they did it, because they probably knew that if they asked Don Cherry to apologize, he'd say, "Fuck you," and then they're like, "Well, I guess we can separate ways, and I don't have to pay you the rest of that $10 million a year."
Imagine Don
That's
Cherry.
where
Black matters.
The genius.
He's so funny.
The genius in that scenario was the guy that kept getting paid, if you ask me. That's
yes, I will side with Ron on that.
You know what? Like he's having a good time.
The thing is, James, I don't see moments like that constantly from him. I see the odd moment like that from Ron McLean. I saw it last night because I think he was just trying to get through a 4-minute interview. Yeah. The other thing too is, as broadcasters, we always have other people in our ears, right? We always have critics, and we have people online, and we're being berated, and you can let like that.
This. Don't ask. This is in Ron's ear, by the way, for the entire interview last night.
Yeah.
Shh, don't ask about the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Like African American Hawks.
No sex assault questions.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway. Not everybody's noticing those things, those sort of inconsistencies in his delivery.
All these examples that we have of that have nothing to do with hockey.
No,
nothing.
Yeah. Oh, dude, hockey's a side story today because it's just been such a shitty series. I like every fucking Sunday, for the past like 10 months, Twitter fires Ron McLean because Twitter's
and Don
dumb.
Cherry's trending again.
Really
so funny.
Wow, and
you know what?
Yeah, every Monday. Like, and far be it for me, but when a TSN reporter, if this guy, and I don't know him, Salim Valji, if this guy is truly tweeting to make a difference because he's upset that no one covered it, fucking low ride out to go after the guy that did the interview and not the people who fucking mandated it, who works for the other company. I mean, like, just
I'm pretty sure
transparent shit ever.
He knows
how
that
his name
all
back
went
up
down.
again. Throw his name back up again.
Yeah.
Based on that tweet, I'm pretty sure the L in Valji is silent.
Okay. Bad G.
The problem is you're too smart, James. It takes so long for me to catch up, right? Like my brain doesn't work that quick.
Good. Hand grenade.
Speaking of brains that don't work that quick, did you see Randy Hillier and Chris Sky go at it on Twitter the other day?
Talk about awesome. Battle of the Titans. Jesus.
Wow.
So
this is not a heavyweight bout, ladies and gentlemen.
He went to Montreal for that rally, and he got in a fight with Randy Hillier. And so Randy Hillier then went after Chris on Twitter, saying he's a paid disruptor to prevent credible, reasonable coalition of people to political opposition to lockdowns. Him, Lamont, Kellyanne, and a few others have delayed and prevented many other like-minded elected members from uniting common cause. Chris, he hits back with, Randy Hillier is a drunk and a liar.
They're both right.
And somebody who can't control his temper on record, you got exposed as somebody riding on the coattails of a real movement and try to stay relevant while receiving donations for your job as a politician where you have accomplished nothing. They're both hates him so much. He then goes on to say, he's tweeted me about it. I'd love to destroy that fat, irrelevant, violent drunk.
Wow.
They're eating each other. Didn't we say this would happen? Didn't we say when this is all over, the Berniers, the Hilliers, the Skies, and the Kellyannes of the world are going to fucking murder each other? It's literally happening, and I couldn't be happier. What a show.
Well, they can't. The problem is they can't. They don't have anything to hang their hats on anymore because we're getting back to normal, right?
Yeah,
because
our
we've all
freedoms
realized
are back.
So now they're going to fight each other.
Every person that followed him is now going, "Oh, we were so wrong. we're fine."
What do you want to do now,
so
guys?
Now you got to pick which side. Yeah.
And now I can't go to Vegas. Yeah. I really wanted to go to In-N-Out Burger. You fucked me, Chris Sky.
I just think it's fucking brilliant. Like you got fucking people that just legitimately lied to people, acted like assholes all the time. We're on the same side until it was over and science won again. And now they're like, fuck him. Fuck him. and they're going to eat
It'll be
each other. And I
interesting
love it.
next week when we have the whatchamacallit on the anti-vaxxer from that Robert Kennedy organization, Sherry. Yeah, that's Monday, right? Yeah. I can't wait.
I'm excited for that.
We got to try to let her talk.
I asked John Kay to come on it just because he doesn't seem to like me condoning burning churches. So we had a look. We didn't. We butt heads a bit today, just in like one tweet. He's like, "No, do synagogues and mosques," and I was like, "Well, if they kill and rape a bunch of kids, cool. Let's burn them down too." I don't know. I don't think he was expecting that, but but I'd like to talk to an intelligent guy about this stuff, because I actually know that I'm technically wrong. I feel like I'm wrong to want all these churches to burn down, but to be honest with you, I do want them all to burn down. So I don't know how I'm supposed to navigate these feelings. I can't say that I'm definitely right and I'm all about justice. I'm kind of about arson right now, and I don't know how to reconcile that, really. So Jonathan would come on and I'd be like, "So you don't think we should burn the churches down, eh?" And he'd be like, "No, I think that it flies in the face of justice and freedom of religion." Yeah, it does. I want them to burn. No, it would be a short argument. I would just
at least you're working on your argument. You know,
yeah.
The burning is the argument.
Sometimes no justification is just
best.
that, right? Like you said, no, man, I just like it.
Sometimes
my justification sounds
so
like
you're a dick too.
Yeah.
What's your justification? Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, you're a cunt. Oh.
Yeah, your girl's ugly. What? It's my boyfriend. Oh.
Guys, thanks for doing this. Really, really good to see you again. That is Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. You can find him on Twitter at Lachlan Cross. You can also find James and his podcast called Blackballed. Very, very good podcast.
We're on hiatus
right Chomsky now. Podcast is going like this, by the way. It keeps going.
Is it still going, eh?
Oh, is it still going?
That was a great chat.
Yeah,
did a great job on that. Did a great job on that,
James. Show YouTube page there, and you'll be able to find it.
Okay.
As well as all of our other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it, you good? You good now? Or?
I'm good. I'm good. I'd like to go burn down a church now. How do you burn down a church? You
probably
How
shouldn't
would I do
say
it?
that on the public airwaves.
I'd hire someone else to do it.
By the way, can I say this quickly? If there's anybody listening that's live in Edmonton, Northern Chicken, which is on 124th, it's National Fried Chicken Day today. They're selling chicken for $2 a piece, and you better get down there, because Northern Chicken, $2 a piece. That's a wicked deal. And I'm telling you right now, I bought 10 pieces, and I only had enough time to eat 5.
What have we become?
Before the
like, what the fuck is going on here?
You know what Locke just did? Locke just took the last second of this podcast to tell everybody that his old man ass picked up some cheap chicken today. And he wants everybody
to get a little mushy.
But it's not cheap chicken. It's cheap chicken, but it's good chicken. I'm telling you right now.
But it's $2, dude. That was the only thing you said. It was like, guys, I just want to let everybody know there's $2 chicken at Northern Chicken today.
It's amazing.
This is guerrilla advertising, and I will not stand for it.
Honestly, I'm not making any money from this. It's such good chicken.
I just have one thing to say.
Look at this. Just guys like Northern Chicken, great place.
We all know. Everyone knows.
$2 chicken tits, Christy says.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I just want y'all. The Will Know Tavern down the street yonder has some great pierogies, and you should go there and get them. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
Yeah, but hold on. Is it National fucking Pierogi Day?
Yeah,
it's National Fried Chicken Day.
Every day is
why I brought it up.
Pierogi Day, motherfucker. I live in a Polish enclave. You know,
I got the hot and spicy one, so my ring is just going to be on fire tomorrow.
That's a good for that,
dude.
company.
This is literally.
If you eat this chicken, you'll pee out your ass.
Not everybody.
This is what I imagine. Like you and me in 20 years, we're having the exact same conversation at a gas station coffee bar in the middle of Saskatchewan. You and I.
Podcasting.
Got the $2 chicken at the chicken place.
That'll be your podcast.
What'd you get? I got the hot and spicy. What'd you get? Oh, I can't do it because my bumhole hurts so bad.
I'm telling you right
It's
now,
a
though,
fucking old
not
Lachlan, you
everyone
park
is
your
as
balls
brave
in
as
the
me.
handicap spot again.
Not everybody is as brave as me. I'm gonna go eat the rest of that chicken. So I crushed 5 pieces before the pod. Guess what I'm doing right away? Another 5.
Diabetes.
10 pieces of spicy hot fried chicken. I'll send you a picture of my ring tomorrow.
Oh,
It'll be the size of an apple.
Dude, I had a
there's a balls
50-year-old
joke
friend
there
send me
somewhere.
a picture of his shit the other day, and I'm like, dude, aren't you 50? Like, can you? And I'm like, dude, why? What is? I opened it up. You know what he titled it to? He titled it Paris Hilton naked. I'm like, ooh, good. I go and open it up. It's just one of his big shits. I'm like, aren't you like the guy's a doctor too? He's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. He's like, get a load of this. And I'm like, well, it's a shit. You sent me a picture of a shit. Anyway, don't do that. That's what I'm saying. I didn't like it. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate you.
That was good
Thanks,
stuff
guys.
today, boys. See you tomorrow.
Lachlan Cross, James DeFiore, DeanBlundell.com. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, just a quick heads up. Golf with Fearless Fred Kennedy, the afternoon drive show host at Q107. He lost. He owes me his entire She-Hulk comic collection. Wouldn't give it up, though. Wouldn't give it up. So if you see him, tell him he owes me his She-Hulk comic collection. Until next time. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being part of the podcast. Don't forget to thank our sponsors by buying things from them, like our friends at Ed's Fine Imports. He's got Gitch. He's made his own branded underwear, super, super luxurious. Banana hammock in the front. All your gear goes in this nice little pouch. And is like a hammock for your stuff. I keep saying it, but it's true. It separates everything. Gitch is Ed's own creation, Canadian made. Support Canadian made business by ordering from edsfineimports.com. Gitch 3 is your promo code, and you get 4 pairs for the price of 3 when you buy 3, and he'll send them to you. Clothing for men and boys at edsfineimports.com and his Gitch. Get them today. Gitch 3 again, your promo code. Easy Auto Financial. Our friends at Easy Auto Financial make it easier for you to get financing for a vehicle and get that vehicle that you want. Great people. Spent a couple of days with them this weekend. Lovely. They just want to help you guys get cars, and they want to help you get financing, and it's tough, and they love subprime, which means if your credit's shit, they'll take care of that and the car. One-stop shopping, easyautofinancial.ca. Check them out today. Domination.com. AI for people that produce content. We produce a ton of it. You can too. It takes us minutes instead of hours. Go to dmntn.com. Check them out today too. Use them for free. Try them for free. Sign up for those credits. Very inexpensive to do a really good job of creating content. So thanks to those fine people. Domination, dmntn.com. And Blue Microphones, the official microphone sponsor, supplier of deanblundell.com. RoboSound says Gitch also works if the ring doesn't get his back. That's rude. No, the Gitch will protect you. Anyway, just a huge thank you to our friends over at Blue Microphones, part of the Blue Crew, deanblundell.com. All 70 of our podcasts are supplied and bought and paid for by our friends at Blue Microphones. They got headphones like these MoFi Jobs, Grammy Award winning, and then they've got these USB mics, which you got to have because it doesn't require anything else, just the mic and a cord. So check them out today. Blue Microphones online at Blue Mic on Twitter, or you can do Blue Microphones on Twitter at Blue Mics online.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for being part of the program. Thanks to Drez, Stoney, Christy. If you sent us a chat, sorry if we didn't get to it. Always appreciate interacting with all of you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye.